For the last several years, we've seen India become very much a focal point, a point of conversation at the World Economic Forum in Davos. This time around, the WEF is looking very closely at the entire issue of sustainable development, green development. Joining us now, a very special guest, the Union Minister, Hardeep Puri. Thanks very much, sir, for being with us. We'll get to the entire theme of a green transition, sustainable growth. But I wanted your thoughts first on what is happening in the Red Sea and the potential impact to our trade flows. We've already seen attacks taking place. Are you worried in terms of the impact it might have on our economy?
Vishnu, I would have been surprised if you had not opened with the Red Sea question.
Oh, good.
Because
so
it is not only the right question. I think it's a subject which is inviting increasing attention, a fair amount of concern. But if I were to take that to worried, I'm not there yet. And I say that for good reason. First and foremost, I think all the state players involved in this, as against the non-state actors which are responsible for this, all the state players, I'm not convinced any of them genuinely wants to see a conflagration of the situation and break out of hostilities on a larger scale, number one.
Right.
There will be people who will be pointing fingers. It's not for me to make an assessment whether the non-state actors acted on their own or with some feeling that they would be backed up by others.
Right.
But on the other hand, look at the converse. If you have to unleash bedlam, then why use one? There are other non-state actors with far higher degree of lethality who could have come in. My view is that any attempt to disrupt or cause uncertainty, even of a perception variety only, in any of the sea routes which are used by global trade is a matter of concern.
Right.
But at the same time, I think there is enough maturity and wisdom around to be able to navigate, literally, and that word's a pun, navigate around this. I see that maybe some of the players involved were not ready for the changes of a very far-sighted nature which were going to take place. For instance, rapprochement between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Israel, for instance.
Yes.
Between Iran and Saudi Arabia or others. Now, when this happened, I'm not saying that this is the causation. It resulted in some uncertainty. But what I would say is, today, none of the state systems, and that I say with 39 years of practicing diplomacy behind me, I think it's in nobody's interest today. The global economy is in a it hasn't had a hard landing, but it's not a...
you raised an important point, sir, when you spoke about, or you were referring to the Middle Eastern Economic Corridor, which we were very hopeful about starting in a finite period of time. Then the war in Israel and Hamas has started out. Do you believe that that has now moved into the back burner indefinitely?
No, not at
because
all.
of equations in West Asia between, say, Qatar and Israel, etc., etc.
No, but those equations have had fault lines even earlier. I mean, when the announcement of a Middle Eastern Economic Corridor were made, I don't think it was anybody's case that it would take place day after tomorrow.
Right.
You have to start up. I think all the basic infrastructure, the intent, everything is there. It will take a little time, but I think when you have hostilities of this kind, drone attacks, missile attacks on merchant shipping, etc., taking place, you don't talk about these corridors then. But I think it's only a matter of time before some serious introspection is done by all those who can influence, and I use the word influence to moderate and help this, and I'm cautiously optimistic.
Iran is obviously a key factor. We have an excellent equation with Iran. We have for a very long period of time. And yet there is evidence of the use of Iranian weapons in the Red Sea, potentially even on the attack which took place on a ship deep in the Arabian Sea.
I would hold judgment. Your part about our excellent relations with Iran bilaterally are absolutely true. I think Iran discussions are taking place. I think the foreign minister was there. Yes. I think other people are there. And I think, as I said, I made a pretty strong categorical statement that I don't think it's in any state actor's interest just now to allow this situation to spiral out of control.
Okay, let's move on now to an important statement that you made earlier on today when you said that we in India cannot give up fossil fuels tomorrow. It's going to take a period of time because there is a transition. It's not an easy transition. What are your goals for India making that transition? How many decades would
So, no, it will not take too many. You want energy Atmanirbharta by 2047, all right?
Yes.
I don't believe it will take even that time. There are three things which are happening. One is our focus on domestic exploration and production is much more focused, much more comprehensive. I think one of our oil majors, ONGC, made a very
Just
good find
recently,
just
yeah.
5 days ago, 35 kilometers off the Kakinada coast in Andhra Pradesh. And I was a little, I wanted to understate it. I said we'll have 45,000 barrels a day by May, June. It's looking even better than that. So that is one. Secondly, our transitioning on biofuels has been a very impressive story. The setting up of the Global Biofuels Alliance will help that. We are already blending 12%.
Yes.
We had a target of 20% blending by 2030, which we brought forward, Vishnu, till 2025. Our stories on compressed biogas and all these areas are very good. Why I say that transitioning doesn't mean that you change gears in a moving car. I mean, you're driving at 90 kilometers an hour. You suddenly don't turn around and shift gears and say, now I will not use fossil fuels. I will use only, green energy.
Yeah.
The green energy story is going to be helped by biofuels. The 20% blending inhibition, I would call it a state of mind, because somebody told you that, 20% blending you don't have to change any of the parts of your automobile. You can use the existing part. But I think in Brazil has shown that the same manufacturers with a little bit of adjustment take it. But the real story is green hydrogen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, green hydrogen, let me say, lends itself to success, Vishnu, in countries which have their demand present there, which will have the capacity to produce and in close proximity. A gas like green hydrogen, any gas, does not lend itself to travel.
Yes.
I mean, you cannot say you make green hydrogen, let's say, in the deserts of a country 10,000 kilometers away and then hope to transport. No, you can transport green ammonia, which we are doing. You're making it, Greenco selling it to Unipar in Germany, or for Singapore's new electricity plant, we are going to provide, green hydrogen, green ammonia going from India. Transitions, by their very definition, successful transitions, need simultaneous concomitant action. Whilst you're doing all this, okay, you're also ensuring that you don't become vulnerable to lack of availability. Because the three challenges you face are availability, affordability, and sustainability.
No, but let's talk about affordability. Is that not a huge concern now that the technology is there? For green hydrogen to be viable in India and around the world, how key is it to get the price right?
No, so that's where the
And then
success...
there's the entire safety angle as
the
well.
success lies in that. When I had a first interaction with the US Energy Secretary, Jennifer Greenhalgh, she started talking, and I was very new to this job, 1 for 1 for 1, which means what? 1 kilo of green hydrogen for $1 for 10 years.
Yeah.
Today, you've already brought the price of green hydrogen down to $3 in India, okay?
Yeah.
You have demonstrated out of the two requirements. One is very reasonably priced, clean solar energy. We've demonstrated that as a country we can bring it down from 25 cents to 3 cents. We've done that. Then you need electrolyzers. Now, what you require now is, let's say your import bill, I'm saying hypothetical, is $120 billion. The price comes down from $3 to say $2.40. Would you not have to make a choice at that point of time? Instead of spending $120 billion, or not all of it, part of it, I divert that to green hydrogen.
Right.
You're reaching that stage. That's why I keep saying all your assessments about 5 million metric tons per annum by 2030, they are gross underestimates. You see, when you are going down a new system, that new system, you don't have any experience. You are looking at what is happening in the rest of the world, and then you set yourself modest targets, because once you set a modest target, you will be insulating yourself from criticism that you didn't meet the target. So all policy makers, and India is no exception, they will set a modest target and then do better than that. But I think the green hydrogen story in India today, foreign investment is coming into that. Land is being acquired, I mean, many of these companies, and today they are demonstrating that they are competing. Now, we don't have what is called the Inflation Reduction Act, which results in what? Several $100 billion of state funding being provided. But somebody said, why you should as India criticize them. I said, not at all. I mean, if you have the resources to spend $400 billion on this thing, you will do it. You're not going to be guided by this thing.
Yeah.
What I would do instead is get my oil companies or my private sector and state sector players to take part in that opportunity, take advantage of that opportunity and contribute to the global green hydrogen situation.
One final question. India and Davos, we are an outlier in terms of our GDP growth. The world's growth has been projected at 2.9%. India is well above 7%.
7.3%.
Right? And this is a mini India over here. Maybe not where we are standing right now, but
I
just
smell
behind
Indian
us.
food here. I say I smell Indian food. So
But that you can smell now in most parts of the world. But
no, more so on this minus 14
but give us that's true. Well, give us your sense of your conversations over here, the sense of enthusiasm for India. Do you believe
enthusiasm
there'll be investments in India? There are 3 state governments over here.
Well, state there are more than that. I mean, there are 2 chief ministers here, as far as I know.
Yeah.
No, but look, that has been on the rise, more so in the last 9-10 years. What I see happening is, and as I started by telling you, that nobody comes here for philanthropy or altruism. They come here because they seek and see an opportunity. And that opportunity comes, I've had 11 back-to-back meetings already in the morning apart from my formal session. And that's the same, thread in all those.
They want to invest.
They want to invest, they want to partner, they want to do other things. And I think the initiatives that the Honorable Prime Minister took, I just mentioned 2 or 3 of them. Out of our 3.5 million square kilometers of sedimentary basin, 1 million was a no-go area, we released it.
Right.
Then we didn't make data available earlier, now we put all the data repository in the University of Texas in Houston for the world to see.
Yeah.
All the major players, there are 5 or 6 of them, they're all partnering our companies. So I think that is the mean. And biofuels. Today, I had a meeting with the chief of Cargill. $165 billion turnover. He wants to deal with biofuels and biogas in India, and he's already doing that. That is the new buzz.
Minister, thank you very much
Vishnu.
for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.